James Doe.
James Doe. Oh, this guy. Okay, there's another. Oh, we didn't take on that.
I'm going to be very brief, but I'm just concerned, I'm very concerned about some of the things that are happening in our country. And the first thing is, how did we get to the point where we can allow government bureaucracy, in particular DHHS, put out basically a gag order, in Senator Mitch McConnell's words, against private enterprise, Humana in particular, and the rest of the insurance industry, by telling them not to talk to their clients anymore about what's going on with the health care bills presently being fought over in Congress. And I don't think it's appropriate to stifle speech just because your constituents don't agree with you.
Next we have Bob Wagner.
My name is Bob Wagner, Whitewater. I don't know where to start, but starting with our founding fathers, they did say that without honesty, the country will not work. And I believe they had a lot of laws in place that were intended to keep us honest and keep this a good Christian country. I graduated from college in 1972, so I was on campus when the potheads were there. And it took me 40 years to 35 years to realize that the potheads stayed on campus. The potheads taught socialism. And I really resent the fact that my government supported educating my children in socialism. I've been a capitalist all my life. I've got a degree in economics. I believe in capitalism. The Russians believed in capitalism. They believed in it when Kondratov studied it. Decided that the capitalistic system, you can't destroy it. The Russian scientist, Kondratov, decided this. And he said that it will regenerate itself on the average 53 years. And that's what it's done, and this is the fifth one, I believe. According to his theory, the government, if they had kept their hands out of it, it would have regenerated itself 12, 13 years ago. So the government isn't just meddling today. I can't blame Obama, or maybe Bush, or maybe even Clinton. We've all sat around and allowed it to happen. And I really resent that I'm part of it too, that we all let this happen to our country. And our children haven't seen capitalism. They haven't seen a country with morals and values. We've all sat around and let the government outlaw God. And we've convinced our kids that the government can do better. And that isn't what our founding fathers stood for. And my own personal experience, I was into your office about 6 years ago to talk to you about holding up a loan guarantee from the Department of Agriculture for a packing plant in Rantoul, Illinois. I don't know if you've kept up on that, but it did declare bankruptcy in February, thanks to the lack of enforcement of our antitrust laws. And it cost me a considerable amount of money, and it cost a lot of good friends a lot of money over the last 5 years. And I believe because the government did not, they chose to ignore the antitrust laws. And they're still promoting it, in my opinion. I made a decision to get out of the swine business or pork production business 2 weeks ago, mainly because of the swine flu fiasco. And again, there was a lack of honesty that the government allowed that to go on for 6 months when they knew it was a lie and it was mislabeling. So I'm real disappointed in our country, and I hope that I appreciate the work you've done. I admire anybody that has gone to Washington right place, but there are things that we all need to stand up for, and if there's anything we can do to help support you in honest decisions, you know, we'd really like to do that. Last but not least, I know you're voting record on the murder of babies, and that's just not something that should be happening in a godly country.
Next we have Donald Thornton. David, is it Matson?
Yes. Yes, I'm David Matson from Poinet. I'd like to thank you for showing yourself. I was trying to find you all August. and so many before me have said I'm not a good public speaker, so I'll concentrate on the one point. The thing that got me off my butt to get here today was this week when the Senate committee would not voted down the amendment to allow 3 days for us to look at legislation on the amendment.
Right.
And President Obama promised us 5 days, which is not enough, and it should be the legislation that you folks are going to vote on should be on the internet in HTML and PDF, so we can have good access to it, and so that all the others that try to work for us and look out for this country can see. And if I had an insurance salesman sitting at my kitchen table telling me that, oh, don't read this, you can't read this, sign up for this great deal, oh, and I'm not going to tell you how much it costs, okay? And after you sign, then maybe we'll go get into that. I will show him the door.
Rebecca Wallace. Welcome, Rebecca.
Well, first I guess I'd like to say that as a teenager, my family was in the system, the healthcare system. And I gotta say, it's a joke. The whole system, the government shouldn't even have its hands on it. And so, but being that it is in places where it shouldn't be, the only time that I think that the government should be helping people, well, is to give them a boost up, not to keep them pushed down. I remember, my mom, she would, bless her heart, she'd be working all kinds of hours to provide ends meet for us, and she'd get a raise. And so she would make $1 a month too much. So they'd take away our $300 in food stamps. Now we're $299 in the hole. How does that help anybody? It creates a dependency of the people so that they have to depend on the government to take care of them. And that's what I see happening. So I don't think that a public option healthcare would be very good at all. I mean, it's just going to create a bigger dependency. And then my question that I'd really like to hear is, if the healthcare option is good enough for all of us, and yet you guys will refuse to take it, why is it